Hello, Governor. Rakai Steed, new from the Ville here. Here to talk about the season finale of Doctor Who, season 2, season 15, episode 8, The Reality War. Let me tell you a quick story. Now, in several other deep dives, I talked about my own struggles with my memory because of depression and other things, and how it now seems to be something that's ongoing in my family, with my grandmother having passed after suffering severe Alzheimer's and dementia, and my mother falling into a lightweight Alzheimer's type situation. Once upon a time, my mind was like a steel trap. Like, I didn't forget anything, and I do mean I didn't forget anything. Now, I'm not saying that it was identical or that I had photographic memory. I didn't. But I remembered high 90% of everything that I saw. But over the years, depression, trauma has done a number on me. And being a military brat, we moved so much that once I found something is no longer useful or not worth remembering, I deleted it. Just Control-Alt-Delete. Now, that's not a good way to go. And because of that, I have people I went to school with, people that I've probably known for 30 plus years. They can roll up on me and I don't remember them from anywhere. I don't mean to be like that. I don't even want to be like that. But it was just something that I learned as a child, and I don't know how to unlearn it. If only I could recover all the things from the recesses of my mind. Let's talk about it. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville, and we're here to talk about Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 8, The Reality War, Season Finale. I don't even know where to get started. Now, if you rock with me for a while, you know that I try not to do these long recaps. I want to keep it short, sweet, get to the quote, get to my personal thoughts, and be out. But here lately, they've been a little bit longer than I wish. So I'm going to do the best I can. Now, this episode was essentially a two-parter, and it continued from where episode 7, Wish World, left off. Wish World was conjured up by Conrad. It was all out of whack. The doctor was in danger, and when we left him, he got trapped on the balcony by the Rani, and she detonated the balcony, and the balcony was falling into the abyss, into nothingness. But at the last possible moment, a door opened up, and it's Anita from the Time Hotel, which you may remember from the Christmas episode, Joy to the World. She pulls the doctor out, and it is the day before, May 23rd. For whatever reason, that room in the Time Hotel resets every day. It never gets to midnight. And she had instructions to pull him out. The doctor quickly figures out what's going on, and he opens up a door back into his life where he left it, where Belinda is. She woke up in bed by herself, and he goes and convinces her of who he is. He's got his new look now, and he's got his all denim, his outfit on with his kilt, and he's ready for war. He's like the black Scottish Braveheart. He opens up a door from the hotel into unit, and he steps in the unit, and he convinces everyone, he shows them what reality really is. But the whole key is that Anita has to leave a door open from the Time Hotel for the real reality to come back, and everyone starts to remember. The Ronnie shows up, tells the doctor and tells everyone else that the Time Lords are sterile. Something happened in the past and that all the Time Lords are sterile, and she's going to use Omega as a DNA bank to restart the Gallifreyan race of people. And that's why she can't use the doctor or her DNA, because it's sterile. She can't use Poppy's half Time Lord DNA because it's only half. It's not a pure enough source. So she's going to go to Omega, the first Time Lord, and use his DNA to start the people. But of course, you know, she's going to install herself as the president, emperor, ruler, whatever. The thing is, the Omega has been stuck in the universe for so long. The thing about the universe is you start to believe the tales. And if the Omega was described in the universe as the first sin and the worst of the worst, when Ronnie opens the door to let Omega out, who pops out? The worst of the worst, the original sin. And the Ronnie, she's tripping. You know, she's like, I summoned you. When does that ever work out? And name any scary movie where somebody summoned a demon or something and said, I summon you. Like, you have to listen to me. No, they don't. You is a dumbass. And the Ronnie is the latest in a long, long list of dumbasses who Omega ate her monkey ass. Yum, yum. Now, she had a bracelet on. Her bracelet was like a vortex manipulator. Kind of same like we had that River Song had, maybe, or Jack Harkness, Captain Jack. She drops it when she gets eaten. Mrs. Flood sees the bracelet. The doctor's like, hey, Omega, look, that's the Ronnie too. Miss Flood puts her braces on, like, I'ma holler at you. I'm out. I saw how that went down. Peace. The doctor grabs the Vindicator that had the power of 10 billion supernovas and uses it to defeat the Omega. Extremely disappointing. I can't even get into how disappointing that was, that Omega was on the screen less time than Darth Maul. Darth Maul at least whooped some ass. You know, Omega, all he did was eat the Ronnie. Ruby had raced down, they split up. Ruby had went to Conrad. She confronted Conrad. And she was able to trick him and get the baby. And she kissed the baby and blew a wish at him, where all she wished Conrad was a happy life. And he disappeared. The doctor showed up for Ruby, and the baby Desiderium, once he had defeated Omega, because now reality was being restored. And it just so turned out that Conrad's room was actually in the TARDIS. It just didn't look that way, but now that reality was being restored, that was the TARDIS. The doctor kissed Desiderium to get the wish, and the first wish he did was to get rid of all wishes. I think the only thing he wanted to do, and he was hoping that by Poppy being inside of the zero room that Susan Twist had created for Poppy back at unit headquarters, would protect her. So they got back to unit headquarters, they opened the little vault, and Poppy and Belinda walked out of the vault fine. Everything seemed to go back to normal. But they get on the TARDIS, and the more that the doctor and Belinda talk, and Poppy's there, next thing you know, Poppy's not there, and they don't remember her at all. But Ruby does. Ruby remembers everything that happened outside the time stream. They go back to Unit. No one there remembers Poppy, but they do say there are some glitches, some things that they know are wrong in the time stream. And Ruby convinces everyone about Poppy. And the doctor figures out, if she's missing, I need to find her. The same way that he saved pretty much everyone in that room. He went out of his way to save Ruby, to save Belinda. He saved Susan. He saved everyone in that room. So then he makes the decision to use his regenerative powers to shift the timeline. Now, while he's trying to do this, the doctor, 13, shows up. And yes, I do know that it's 13. I've known who the doctors were. I just don't know how we get there or anything, any details about the story. But I do know that Jodie Whittaker is 13. I do know that. So 13 shows up to talk the doctor out of it. They have a great conversation. Of course, she can't stop him from doing anything. A big thing, he tells her he loves her. And she's like, wait, I'm the doctor. I never say stuff like that. We don't say stuff like that. And he says, I know. But that's why you have me. I do. It's big. The doctor pops back into a time stream. He finds Belinda, and Poppy is her daughter, but he finds out that Poppy is her daughter, not their daughter. The doctor says a beautiful line to her about, sometimes beautiful things are forgotten. And he gets back on the TARDIS and he leaves. And then he starts the full regenerative process. Even as he's there, he says he doesn't want to be alone, and he sees joy to the world. He sees joy out in the sky. He starts regenerating. And the most inexplicable thing happens. The face that he puts on is that of Rose Tyler. Is she the 16th Doctor? You know that I like my quotes, and I'm going to try to keep this short. I only have two, and one you already heard, which was kind of my direction into this particular deep dive. Towards the end of the episode, the doctor said to Belinda when he found her again and found her with Poppy, because she said, Belinda said, I don't know why I feel like I'm forgetting something. And the doctor said to Belinda, beautiful things can be forgotten. My one quote is from Mala Naidu, and they say, memories don't die, they become shelved in recesses of one's mind, resurfacing when the triggers of life reignite them, lighting up the heart in a warm glow of remembrance. I'm calling this particular media therapy deep dive recesses of my mind. The phrase recesses of my mind refers to the hidden or secret parts of one's mental landscape, encompassing thoughts, feelings, and memories are not at the forefront of the consciousness. They're like inner compartments or hidden areas within the mind. Like a lot of times when I think about it, I think about like Sherlock, the Benedict Cumberbatch or Martin Freeman one, or even Demon Slayer, where they have these mind palaces. But it's pretty much where your forgotten memories go. You ever been sitting around talking to someone and they say something that triggers something that you haven't thought about in years? You just pulled that from the recess of your mind. You ever heard a song come on that you haven't heard in forever, but it instantly transports you back to maybe the time when that song first came out, or maybe the time when that song meant something to you. It attached you to a particular memory. The human mind is funny like that. Songs, smells, sights, words, can trigger these memories and transport you back to another place in time. Things that you haven't thought about because, again, like I said in the beginning, things that are not important to you, you kind of, maybe you don't control alt delete, you don't get rid of them, but they retreat to the back, then further back, and then to the far corners of your mind because you're making room for the things that you access more frequently or that you deem more important to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. The thing is, it can still be hurtful. When my grandmother was close to passing, she passed September of 2022. She was 102 years old, and she'd had a long life. Those last year or two, I remember I'd go in her room and be like, "Hi, Grandmama." And she'd look at me with this kind of vacant, 30-yard stare and be like, "Oh, hey, baby." The lights were on, but nobody was home. And I knew that the whole time I'm standing there talking to her, her mind is probably going back and forth with, who is this wonderfully handsome man who's talking to me? He keeps referring to me as his grandmother, but I don't know who he is. And she would see my kids and like, "Oh, such pretty kids." No idea who they were. It's actually kind of sad. I've gotten to the point here recently where talking to my mom can have some of the same difficulties. I can tell her something and then 30 seconds later, she'll ask a question as if I didn't just tell her the answer to it 30 seconds ago, or we'll go back into a conversation that we just had as if we didn't have it. I don't know how dementia, I don't know how Alzheimer's, I don't know how any of that worked. I haven't looked it up. I don't done any of the research. I don't know much about it. But it seems like my mom is dealing with that. I remember that my grandmother once told me that as an older lady, she had senior moments. She just couldn't forget stuff. She just couldn't remember some stuff. And I said, well, I must have junior moments because there's some stuff I can't remember either. I know mine comes and goes. And just some stuff, if I don't deem it important, I don't remember it. And I don't mean to be that way. I really don't. Here's the one thing that I figured out though. I think. Just like the rest of you, you have to put yourself to work. Now, what does that mean? If you are upset with the body that you have now, and you want to get back to your high school body, your summer body, your, college body or whatever, if you want to get back to that, if you want to get back to in shape, you have to actually get up and not necessarily go to the gym, but you got to put your body through some paces. You got to work out. You got to eat right. You got to take supplements and eat protein or whatever. But you have to do the necessary things for your body to get back in shape. Well, your mind is no different. If all you do is veg out and watch TV, which is, I know it's ironic coming from people who do reactions and deep dive videos. I get it. But these deep dives are part of me purposing my mind for more than just blind reactions. The discussions that we have at the end of the reactions between Centel and myself are part of that. Do you do puzzles? Do you do, escape rooms? Do you do anything Sudoku? Do you do anything that puts your mind through its paces so that it is working? That's how you keep your mind sharp. Is that the answer? I don't know. And I'm trying to stay as sharp as I can for as long as I can. Do what you can to take care of yourself while you can. It's actually not YOLO. You don't only live once. You live every day. And every day you're blessed enough to wake up, you have another opportunity to do better than you did yesterday. But you only die once. So hurry up and get started living. Stop waiting to die. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Make sure that you share this. Give me a like. Give me some comments on this episode, on what you thought about what I said. Things about the recesses of your mind. Do you ever have any problems with that? And if for whatever reason, if you have not subscribed, do me a favor. Go down here. It's down here somewhere. Hit the subscribe button. And then watch the other videos. There might be some that resonates with you. Remember, everything I do is about this. But even more importantly, it's about this.